So I'm on my way driving to upstate New York, on my way to Rough Drafts Books and Bar to meet Jess Care Moore, the incredible poet, activist, extraordinaire. I couldn't be more excited for this interview. And honestly, I can't wait to get there to Kingston, New York to go and see her. So let's go. Jessica, thank you so much for being here today. I am thrilled at the opportunity, first to be able to meet you in person.
Yeah, it feels like we already know each other.
It feels like we do, and to be this close to literally touch the hem of the garment of the genius poet and activist and just dope human being, Jessica Care Moore. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. So we want our bodies back, right? How do we start? How do we begin to heal?
I mean, the work for me has been the only thing. I mean, it's deep because me giving has been a part of the healing. And so I'm a giver. And so as an artist, I get something from giving. You know, healing is I think a lifetime process when you're born here and you are, especially a brown or black person born in this country, you're always just gonna be healing, right? And so the work is beautiful though. Like you know, it's funny because I remember like people used to ask Malcolm X like why he smiled. You know, Malcolm had the most beautiful smile. This man that had all this fire when he spoke, but he always was smiling. But he was dealing with like very hard issues. And me too. Like I'm very silly and I smile. I like to laugh. And part of that is so important to the healing process because my work is so serious. So but in real life, I enjoy my life. My blackness is not a burden. It's something I celebrate. So I come to all of it in that way. Like all of this is for the better good. It's for the good of our people. And so, I don't know, healing's to me just a part of it. And my writing is a part of my own healing. That we want our bodies back is really personal. Like all my work is very personal. And we want our bodies back. I love it because I'm, you know, very much solo as far as in my personal life. It's much more about me as a woman and me reflecting back. And I opened the book with like a poem about my father dying. So I opened with like losing my father's physical body. But my father's physical body leaving is what propelled me into this work that I do. It's where I found my voice after he passed away. So I'm still healing from my father's passing. Like my first book, The Words Don't Fit in My Mouth, my daddy's on the cover of that book. And here he is opening up my 5th book, right? Because he has never leave. He's right there, always pushing me though. You know, and I got people like, well, who's your agent? I'd be like, God and my daddy. That's my booking agent, because like Durell, I'm so blessed. I have this unimaginable life. You know, I'm able to do what I love and write what I want to write. I just decided, and grateful that I decided right before a pandemic hit, that this book needed to be in all these bookstores. And these bookstores around the country, unfortunately, don't support. As much as we love independent bookstores, they need to support independent press more and black-owned press more because they don't always go, you know, they're always hitting the same people that the big major chains are hitting. So we have to make sure that independent bookstores are looking at those independent book publishers and putting those independent authors who are maybe not on a major press and getting them some shelf love. The things that have shifted, right? Like during the pandemic for a lot of my artist friends, most of my income was wiped out just in 2020, just with February, March, and April gone. Like all my gigs, my tour was canceled. And I had to figure it. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Then my friends started dying, and I didn't care about money. I was like, my friends are dying. Okay, so I was just in this kind of weird, frozen, strange space. I just ended up reaching out to independent bookstores because we want our bodies back to go away. So independent bookstores needed authors to support so that people could go buy the books at the store. So that's what I did, and that's not money. That's activism. That's me supporting a book. That's me supporting bookstores. So eventually I found other ways of making life make sense and bringing in income. So I didn't lose my house. You know, like the unemployment wasn't enough to pay my mortgage. Not even close. But ultimately I had to find other things. And because like sometimes when things go completely still, other things open up. I think some of us needed to sit down. Some of us who've been nonstop. You know, I spent lots of time like with Dave Chappelle and Talib Kweli in Yellow Springs, and you know, Dave even recently asked me like, what, Jessica, do you think we got out of this? Did something good come out of this? And I had to tell him that he came out of this. Like him creating that space in Yellow Springs came out of this. And so he gave artists like me and other people a place to be, a place to eat together without a mask on. Like something that a few years ago we would be like, this is a sci-fi movie. But we needed that, you know, and he provided COVID rapid tests so that we could take off our masks and record together and talk together and talk about the world, and we had good conversations. Everybody's just people, man, and people need, and artists in particular, we need each other, and we need audiences, we need energy. So a lot of things closed down for me personally, and a lot of new things have opened up, and new opportunities, and me saying, okay, how I can make money from my living room. I don't have to leave my son as much. Okay, I love traveling, but this is still interesting.
Tell us a little bit about your origin story. Like, what was it like for Jessica growing up? Like, you know, what was it like?
So my father's from Alabama, my mother's from Canada.
Oh my God, Montgomery.
Oh, okay. My people are in Madison and Huntsville.
Oh,
Come on now. So, but my dad was much older than my mother. So I have 5 biological older brothers and 2 sisters. So eight kids. My daddy. We think 8 impossible because he's from Alabama. He was fine. He could. I think I got at least one more sister out there. He was a big part of my rearing. So I grew up in a very black male-dominated house. It's like my 2 brothers, Mark and Johnny, were in the house. My mother had the last 4 of his kids, and me and my sister, and then him. And so between them 3, and then it was just, I was the first girl. So I had all these dudes, man. So I grew up on a very beautiful, busy, working class block across the street from Dearborn. So Dearborn, Michigan is the biggest Arab population in America. Is Detroit, is Greater Detroit, which is Dearborn, which is literally across the street from Tyman. It's where I live. So I live between this Chaldean, Muslim, Polish neighborhood community right across from Detroit, which is predominantly black and kind of more mixed. We had a couple white families on the block, but it's predominantly a black neighborhood, black working class. It was safe. You know, we had like a safe space to like ride our big wheels and our bikes, and safer than like me, how scary I am with my son who's 14, who's very protected and been growing up in this beautiful bubble. I was a tomboy, you know, tom girl I say. Very rough and tumble, wore my hair pulled back in a ponytail. I was a basketball player, so the court was in our backyard. So all the guys came down to play basketball. So I learned how to play basketball, playing in the backyard with my brothers.
What?
So I was an athlete. I played basketball for 4 years. Baseball is like, my family all plays baseball, so it's our sport. But basketball, I just like, oh, maybe I'm not good. And then I went and tried out my freshman year at Cody High School, Detroit Public School. And I made varsity like my freshman year. And I was like, I could play? But see, the way I played was different than the white girls play, very mechanically, and I played like I was from the hood. My crossover was like, I came down like, the coaches was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What's she doing? I was like, well, this is how we do it, you know? And they were very like this with it, and you know. So I was like very much a nerd, but athleticism saved me. I could play volleyball and I ran cross country. So being in the gym balanced out the complete nerd that I really was. And we had something in Cody High School in Detroit that saved my life, and it was called the Black Box Theater. And things they don't have in schools anymore. It was a dreamy, magical place. So Susan Story was my drama coach, who's my friend to this day, was one of my mentors to this day. Came to my big play that opened in Detroit. She was at my opening. This was my high school drama teacher. Reading my mother's, she didn't read any nonfiction. She read all nonfiction and all memoir. So that's what I was reading, biographies, memoir. So I liked information. I liked history. I liked politics. And so that's what my mother was reading, so I got informed in that way. And so I thought I was going to be a journalist. That was the plan, because who can make a living as a poet? You know, like, that's crazy. So no one said I could do that. So I was like, okay, poetry is cool, but journalism, politics, you know, that's what I majored in. Michigan State, I was a double major at Michigan State at journalism and political science. But it's in my work. Now it's just without the bullshit. You know, it's like I get to like really write about issues of the day and for the people, and not have to do it through a lens of somebody else, and more control over my work in that way. I had a really beautiful upbringing in Detroit. I grew up in a very black city.
What advice? I mean, you brought up your son King.
Oh, yeah.
14 years old,
Yeah.
moving through the world in this black body.
Ooh.
What advice would you like to give to other black parents, specifically maybe even black mothers out
Mamas.
there raising
Okay.
black sons? You know?
At some point, you have to stop worrying and have faith that he's protected by a force larger than us, right? So you gotta keep that, whatever God or energy or ancestor you walk with. My father's very close. I always feel like my father is watching over my son. His grandfather that he never met, got him. But it doesn't make me feel completely secure. But I've been traveling away from him. It's deep because Qasim Basir, who I'm working with, I was telling you there's a film my feature film is going to be shot in September.
Yes.
And Qasim Basir, I'm really excited, who did A Boy, a Girl, a Dream with Omari Hardwick and Megan Good recently, is directing the film. So it's amazing.
Wait, is this a scoop? Is this a little bit
It's
of a
a little
scoop?
bit of a scoop because I haven't announced that Qasim's directing. The bigger scoop is that pretty sure that Tobias Trivelin is going to be the lead actor in the film. So yeah, I know, right?
Ooh, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and he's
Congratulations.
really excited. I just talked to him yesterday, and we just met via Zoom a few days ago, and he's all the way in. And I love him, and I don't know him in real life. So we're getting to know each other. I'm doing the lead woman part in the piece. It's called He Looked Like a Postcard.
Oh.
And it was deep. Durell, that I wasn't supposed to be in the film, according to the screenwriter. That is me. I didn't want to be in the film. I wanted to write it, I wanted the story to be told, and I wanted to help produce it because I like to produce. I asked Qasim to come over. He's supposed to give me notes. I didn't think he wanted to direct the film. So I'm ready for my notes. Like, okay, tell me the feedback. He just has all these positive things to say. I like the direction, I like the dialogue, I love the characters. I'm like, do you want to direct it? And he was like, yeah, why do you think I'm here? And I was like, that's crazy. So then the conversation shifted, and we talked about all the possibilities of the story, what it could do and where it could go. And then he said, so are you gonna be in it? And I was like, oh no.
What?
No, I said, no, let's cast it. I said, I'll coach whoever. It's heavy, my poetry is heavy in the work. The lead is a poet. It's loosely based on my life and me coming back to Detroit as a single mother, trying to figure out how to get my life back, how to find my voice again, and I fall in love. So it's a love story. But it's a self-love story. It's less about the painter I fall in love with, more than it is about how I get my strength to realize who I am despite the pressures of becoming a regular person again, like getting a job, like bullshit like that. I don't want a job, you know what I mean? Like, I want a life that is filled with passion, and that every day I wake up, I'm doing something that I love. And I always even tell young people that I meet, don't ever have people tell you have to get a job. So jobs are for people who don't have anything else, who haven't found their passion. They don't know what they love, so they work at this place until they find it. It's okay to have a job in the meantime, just to put some food in your refrigerator. Don't let that be your life. Your life is dedicated to working somebody else's dream, you know? And so the next day I called Qasim and I said, did you ask me? I said, talk to me straight, I'm a Scorpio, I want to know the truth. You know, don't fuck with me. Can I say fuck with me? Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, don't fuck with me. I'm like, did you ask me if I wanted to be in the film because you thought I wanted to be in the film, or do you think I should be in the film? And he said, you have to do the film.
You have to do it.
Yeah, and so I'm doing the film, and it's a new space for me. I mean, I've done theater and I've done some small independent films, but this is a major. It's a feature film.
How do you silence the critics or deal with criticism from like peers or other people out in the field?
Silence it with love, because I have gotten so much. I'm so blessed to realize, how can I pay attention to anybody that, I mean, I'm not even my own favorite poet, but I do know that I know I deserve to be in the conversation, right? So people don't have to like my work or think I'm the best poet in the world, but you can't not respect what I've done. And I didn't have it the easy way. I didn't sign book publishing deals after the Apollo. You know, I got rejected. I got rejection letters from all these publishing houses when I was in 1997. But I'm so happy and grateful for them, because then I started More Black Press and did something way more interesting called Build an Institution, Build a Black Institution supporting Black poets, and put out Saul Williams' first book. That's way more fresh than she won the Apollo and got a book deal on a big white press. Here I am now in 2021 with that's when I was 22 in my brownstone in Brooklyn
publishing
company with my money, and I sold 20,000 copies of The Words Don't Fit in My Mouth. And Baker and Taylor called my house Baker and Taylor, one of the biggest distribution houses in the country, with my one book, called my house, like, we're trying to find this book, because people were going into Barnes and Nobles and Borders when there were more of them, saying, we want the girl from the Apollo, where's her book? So even though these publishing houses had turned me down, I knew I had an audience. I learned by doing it. And so I did that book, and then Saul saw what I was doing. At the time, he walked his manuscript over the 7th octave. Marcia Jones, his daughter's mom, Saturn's mom, was a dear friend of mine, became my art director. She painted that beautiful painting, the 7th octave cover. And he's like, let's make you the Hakeem Adabuti of our generation. And I was like, I don't know about all that, but I'll publish your book. So I took my money, my little $5,000 whatever dollars, and put it in the first printing of his book. So I learned how to publish books, and so that's much more interesting, right? And that's why I'm still here, is because I built institutions around what I believe in. I believe Black poets deserve to be in the poetry section. I remember talking to Ava before, and she was like, how do you, figure out a way to take care of yourself while you're taking care of all these other people? And Ava's so interesting. I watched her shift into like making sure Ava was doing directing and not just doing Affirm, right? And Affirm still exists, but Ava needed to go do Ava. So that's what we want our bodies back, is me saying, okay, Jessica needs to make sure that Jessica is secure and Jessica's books are all over the world and that people all over can buy them from anywhere now. Okay, I'm more accessible. Now I can help other voices in a bigger way now, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about the Jessica Care Moore show and like any other projects that you have kind of going on.
So the Instagram show is really just because I wanted to stay connected to audience, and I wanted to promote independent artists. So it's poetry, politics, people. I knew that artists needed a space, and artists talking to other artists, I think it's just a really dope thing. And so I do it when I feel like it. Like, it was every Tuesday show, and I was like, Jessica Care Moore show when I feel like it.
And I'm not busy doing something else.
Because it just became a job. So I don't like jobs. And I was like, this is like every Tuesday. It's like, I got a job on Tuesday. I don't want a job on Tuesday. And so I had to like slow it down. And now I'm very busy. My main thing right now is that I'm editing an anthology, The Roaring 90s, based around the 90s poetry scene out of New York City. To me, it's been undocumented and not put in proper context for people to teach. So I'm doing that with my press, with More Black Press. But this film is my baby right now. I'm recording my rock project, Rock and Roll Nigga. That's happening with Stephanie Christian next month in New York. So we got Swiss Chris is my first drummer that I worked with back in New York City with my band Detroit Red, and he's musical directing it. And we're coming to New York to record it, and really excited about it. But my rock album is a long time coming. So Stephanie Christian is this incredible vocalist out of Detroit. So we're doing, it's basically kind of like a punk poetry, ghetto metal kind of thing. But so the record is coming, and new books are coming, and the film is coming. I'm shooting this major, and the beautiful thing about this film is that the backdrop is Black Detroit, is Black painters, is Black music, and there hasn't been a love story out of Detroit that I'm familiar with ever that paints Detroit in the light that it deserves. But I'm just tired of the jabs, and I want to show Detroit stories in the correct light. This film is that, and this next film I'm working on is that too. And so, because we have to control the narrative of our cities and our communities, and the Detroit narrative to me is very skewed. It's very wrong in the national lens, and so this movie I think is going to help change some of that.
So say somebody discovers this 50, 100 years from now.
Yeah.
What do you want the legacy of Jessica Care Moore to be?
Unapologetically Black, unapologetically, woman. My legacy is about that. Beyond being a poet, the most important thing I've done is create institutions around my art. Institution builder, like creating, the production house, like helping to build the production. Like I've raised a couple $100,000 for my film already, just based on relationships and calling and saying, hey, I got this thing I'm doing. Black Woman Rock, I've been doing for 17 years now. I built an institution. I saw that she was a void filler. I see void. There's a void in the publishing industry when I started More Black Press. There still is a void in the publishing industry. There was a void, and there still is a void in radio and record labels, and the way that rock and roll is defined through a very white lens and not by Black women who created the art form. not connecting it to the blues and to gospel and to the South and the deeps and our stories. Like rock and roll is nothing without the blues. It's nothing without Black women. And we're not celebrated in that space. So seeing that void and saying, well, I'm gonna bring out these Black women, 12 to 15 musicians. These women who are like the ones who create the culture and then get stolen from, and or they let one of us have a record deal. Only one Black girl on guitar.
At a time, one at a time.
One, you know, like, and like I love India. I've known India. I remember India before she got her deal. I knew India a long time. She just playing guitar, little gigs, little coffee houses like this. But and I love her. But there's a lot of people that play guitar. India. There's a lot more Indias. There's more Indians. There's more Erykah Badu's. Like these people are not just like monoliths. Like there's a lot of us. Black Girl Rock is not going anywhere. I'm pushing it. I'm working on Netflix series or Netflix, HBO, whatever. Oh, come on with it. But we need more visibility, and these women's stories are so important to me. And so I guess my legacy would be that, you know, that she opened doors for other people other than her own. Yeah, I mean, people opened them for me. Sonia Sanchez is my mentor. The Last Poets took me on the road. Gil Scott-Heron asked for me to open with him. I, you know, perform with my mentors. Roy Ayers and I do shows together because Roy used to always bring me on stage. So someone did it for me, so I do it. I'm paying it forward, and I didn't take no shit, you know, and that I don't kowtow for anybody. And I'm always myself, no matter who I'm reading in front of, or if I'm in Berlin and Potsdamer Platz in front of thousands of white, whatever, European. I'm still who I am at all times. And either people like me or they don't. So.
Well,
yeah.
I want to say, not only do I like you, but I love you.
I love you too.
I love your work.
Thank you.
Your contribution to the culture.
Yeah.
You know,
thank
we
you.
are all standing on the shoulder of giants. But
That's
let me
right.
tell you, when Jessica Care Moore was born, those shoulders got even broader. So thank you so much for being
beautiful.
here.
October 28th. I take
Let's go.
birthday presents all year round.
You got it. You got
Scorpio.
it.
Yes.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Yay. It was so good.